Tonight, the new series True Life Crime investigates the most harrowing mysteries rocking headlines and social feeds. Young lives gone too soon. Their deaths were shocking, and haunting questions remain. I'm True Life Crime UK correspondent Linda Ade, and I'm here to join the dots and expose the truth. Popular Alex Davies left his family home in April 2019, then disappeared. For his family, this is completely out of character.
It just like he no longer existed and he'd gone.
But for the police, an 18-year-old going missing isn't uncommon.
They said he's 18 years old. People that age go off and don't tell the parents.
His family and friends can't understand why he would just leave.
There's like a whole range of possibilities of like what could have happened.
Has he run away from home?
We didn't know where Alex was going.
Or is there something more sinister at play?
A message sent to Alex at 2:30 on the Monday to say, I'll come and get you.
2 years on, his family and friends remain searching for answers and looking for justice.
I don't really know how to put into words how I feel, wishing I could go back and stop him.
He said that'll never happen, and of course it did.
Skelmersdale, West Lancashire, a 1960s urban town on the outskirts of Liverpool, nestled between sweeping countryside and picturesque villages. This is where Alex Davies vanished after leaving his home in April 2019. 2 years on, questions about his disappearance remain unanswered. I want to know what really happened.
Were there any signs on the run-up to his disappearance that something was wrong?
No one from Alex's close-knit family and friends has ever spoken publicly on camera about this before.
I'm on my way to speak to the people who knew him best, starting with his mum, Bev. Thank you so much for your time today. You know Alex more than probably anyone else.
Yes, we're very close. I mean, he was my boy. He could talk to me about anything. I had a very active social life. He dedicated a lot of his time doing voluntary work, and from there he moved to working at Home Bargains. He just had everything going for him. When he was a bit younger, he was bullied.
Really?
Because he was gay, because he liked trains, and because he liked ABBA. Those were the main three things. But I think that probably goes on a lot with young people anyway.
I think when you're young, I think anything that is different is a threat.
Yes,
to you,
yes,
you know?
Yes, that's quite true.
Can you tell me a bit about that day, that Monday that Alex went missing? What happened?
It just started off as a normal day. I went to work. When I got back, Alex wasn't in. And by about 9 o'clock, Alex hadn't been in contact with me. But then you don't think the worst at the time.
I remember being 18 and I wouldn't always tell my mum where I was going. But you knew something was wrong. I
can't explain it. I suppose it's like a mother's instinct. I got in contact with Leon, Alex's best friend, and said, have you heard from him? When Leon hadn't, I began to get extremely worried.
Bev was so certain something was wrong, she called the police early the next morning.
I phoned the police up and said, I think my son is missing, but they weren't really that interested.
Why do you think that would be?
Well, they said he's a lad, he's 18 years old. You know, sometimes people that age go off and don't tell the parents, and I said, it isn't like Alex to do this sort of thing.
It must have been frustrating for Bev to have this concern about Alex and to feel she's not being taken seriously. But from the police's point of view, at 18, he was an adult. Was she right to be worried so early on?
I've just been thinking about my mum and what she would be like if I went missing for a couple of days. So I'm just going to call her now.
Hello.
Hi, Mum, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I've got a quick question, Mum. I'm working on a case about a young guy. He's 18 and he went missing. How worried would you be if I didn't come back home for a few days?
My God, I would be so worried. You have that once. I was really, really terrified.
Really?
It's really frightening. Throughout that night, just forget it, there's no sleep.
He is 18. That's an adult, technically.
That 18 is just a number, you know. Mother is mother, and that's your child. When it was now getting late, and there's no more calls, no more reply as well, then wow, anything can happen at any time.
Actually, didn't expect I would feel like this after that conversation. I feel kind of guilty for underestimating how worrying it must be for a mum. I need to find out more about Alex's character to help me understand what was going on when he went missing. Growing up, Alex was lucky to be part of a tight-knit group of friends who had his back.
Most of the time he was really happy and lively and like the class clown type of person. For my 18th birthday, he actually turned up with like 3 crates of jelly. It was very much what you see is what you get. He was very open about the fact that he was gay. He was very confident with it. Hi, I'm Alex, I'm gay. I was like, right, well, I'm Danny, I'm straight.
I've seen the hard graft work side of Alex, and I've seen, do you want to do donuts in the car park at 2 o'clock in the morning type of Alex. He brought out the worst in me and I brought out the worst in him. It was like, who can be more stupid or who can do the most stupidest thing?
He used to take me home from work and we were on the same shift. And it was nice because he always got me to try and sing to ABBA with him. And I'm like, I'm a bad singer. He went, we're in the car, we're fine, no one can hear us. We would go out for meals or go to work parties together. And he was like a very caring and honest person.
He wasn't afraid of nothing or no one. There'd be a few people that didn't really get him, but even then he wouldn't care. We were definitely a family in our own way. We were a weird, quirky family, but we all wouldn't have it any other way.
When I met with Bev, she mentioned his close friend Leon. I want to know if he had a theory as to why Alex went missing.
Hello.
Thank you for meeting me. I've been chatting to Bev and she mentioned that you and Alex were really close. How would you describe your friendship?
I've known Alex for quite a while, actually. He was like a brother of me. You could always just have a laugh with him. We shared quite a lot, the same interests, and when me and him were younger, we used to like trains and train spotting. But as we got older, we used to go out with quite a lot of mates, go by the theme parks and everything, or just going out for a few drinks.
When was the last time that you saw Alex?
Well, the weekend before, me and a few of our friends, we met up for drinks, and that was on the Friday evening.
Okay.
And then the last time I seen him was actually on the Sunday, the day before in work. And there was nothing sort of unduly concerning when I seen him.
So nothing had really changed from the Friday night?
No.
So how did you find out that Alex had gone missing?
I did speak with Bev on Tuesday afternoon on the phone, and she said, have you seen it? I think he's gone missing.
What was going on in your head when you heard that?
I thought, possibility he might have been attacked, could have been mugged, he could be injured somewhere and we don't know. I just found it completely out of the ordinary for Alex to just go off the centre of the earth. It just like he no longer existed and he'd gone.
What's the area like? Is it likely that he could have been mugged?
Quite possibly, yeah. There was a time where he was on his way to work early in the morning and he was confronted by these people and it did shake him quite a bit. I don't think he felt entirely safe after that point.
Really?
No.
When I first heard about Alex's case, the idea of a random mugging never came to mind. But there were no reports of violent attacks within the town, CCTV or witnesses to support this idea. Fearing the worst, and with the police not treating Alex's disappearance as suspicious, 24 hours on from going missing, Bev started to make her own inquiries.
I've got CCTV up. I started going through it, and then I found that Alex got into a taxi and I could see the registration number. So I contacted the taxi company.
So you were essentially doing your own detective work?
Yes, because by this time he could have been in an accident, he could be lying somewhere. You just don't know. All these thoughts go through your head.
This was vital information for Bev to uncover. And after initial reluctance from the taxi firm, she was eventually able to find out where Alex had been heading, the train station in the nearby village of Parbold, a place Alex was familiar with. But this raises more questions. I've come to the station itself to hook up with another of Alex's friends, Joel.
I'm good, thank you.
Well, thanks for meeting me today.
Joel had known Alex since they were kids. I want to know what he thought when Alex went missing. Had he ever mentioned leaving town? Could he have been running away?
I knew he was quite independent. He kind of liked being able to do his own thing. So it wouldn't have surprised me if he'd gone somewhere maybe and stayed the night.
Did it ever cross your mind that something bad might have happened or he might have come into harm?
You definitely think there's like a whole range of like possibilities of like what could have happened. But I never wanted to think the worst.
Did Alex ever talk about wanting to leave Skelmersdale?
But he'd maybe just say, oh, you can't wait to leave this place.
Oh, really?
I guess maybe the kind of things that a lot of like younger people think about their own town.
If Alex did follow an urge to leave his hometown, he wouldn't be the first teenager to do so. But if he had simply jumped on a train, it doesn't explain why he didn't bother to tell anyone, or why he chose this moment. It makes me wonder what else was going on in Alex's life at the time of his disappearance.
Alex was at a very happy stage in his life. Just recently got a promotion at work.
Oh, wow.
And he was doing really well in that. Everything was finally falling into place.
Alex was such a presence at work. When he failed to show up for his shift on Thursday, 4 days after he vanished, concern grew further. And whilst the police were now taking Bev's concerns seriously, with Alex officially declared missing, there were no obvious answers.
He was actually meant to be in work at 3 o'clock. And that's when I sort of come to the realisation something bad has happened.
Oh, God.
I remember being with his manager and his colleague, and we actually launched an appeal for him on the Facebook site for the shop.
I'm getting a picture of someone who was really quite settled. Alex had a loving family, a strong group of friends, and he was clearly popular at work. Everyone who knew him was getting more and more concerned that he'd come to harm. And as the search for Alex continued, a shocking discovery was made nearby.
More today's news now, and police were called to an area near to Parbold Hill yesterday evening. It's not known if the body is that of a woman or a man.
I'm investigating the disappearance of 18-year-old Alex Davies from Skelmersdale in Lancashire. 4 days after he went missing, a shocking discovery was made in the nearby village of Parbold. A body had been found.
Police were called to an area near to Parbold Hill yesterday evening. It's not known if the body is that of a woman or a man.
Was this connected to Alex in any way? And how did the community react? I'm meeting up with Joe Thomas, a local crime reporter.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for meeting me today.
It's a pleasure.
A body being found in this type of community. I can't make sense of it.
You would never expect anything like that to happen in a place like this. And I think there was more shock and surprise than it had happened elsewhere.
At the point you found out about the body, how much did you know about who it might have been, who it was?
At that point, we knew very, very little. They believed that person had been murdered. They didn't tell us the gender of that person, nor did they give us an identification of their age or anything along those lines.
The body had been found 72 hours after Alex went missing and just 3 miles from his home. But due to the confusion over identity, his friends and family still had hope.
Did you hear about the body that was found in Parbold?
I did, yeah. I heard that it was unidentifiable, so it was like, is it him, isn't it him?
So you didn't connect it to Alex?
There was a report came out saying that they'd identified it and it was a female, so it was like, all right, OK, then he's fine, he's just somewhere out there.
Alex's manager said a body has been found on Parbold Hill, but it can't be Alex because it's meant to be somebody older. So I said, oh, thank goodness for that.
While Alex's friends and family held their breath, the police got to work trying to identify the body. I'm on my way to meet Detective Chief Inspector Jeff Hurst, who led the operation. It's the first time the police have revealed on camera what they uncovered on Parbold Hill.
What did you discover when you got here, Jeff?
The body had been dragged down the little hill to the front of the tree, and the person responsible had started to rip branches off one of those conifers over there and just started to lay them over him.
Really?
Yeah.
And you were sure at that point that it was a murder that you were dealing with?
Yeah. I could see there was multiple stab wounds. His nose had been broken, he'd been physically assaulted prior to the stabbing. It was horrific. Absolutely horrific.
So, are you able to tell me how you eventually did identify who this person was?
I asked my deputy to research any local missing from homes.
Right.
There was a young lad been reported missing on the 30th of April. And whilst it couldn't be certain because of the condition of the body, there were some characteristics that I could recognise and a piece of jewellery on the body that was on the photograph of the missing person.
Who was this victim?
His name was Alex Davies.
You were certain at that point that you had found Alex?
Yeah, there'd been no formal identification done, but I was satisfied that the person that I was stood at the side of was Alex Davies.
Oh, my God.
It's just so upsetting to know that this is where Alex lost his life and just how brutal the murder was. I wasn't expecting that at all. It's like, what kind of a person could bring someone down here, drag their body, and do that to them?
Straight away, I knew that I was going to be dealing with what we call a Category A homicide. And they are very, very challenging homicides. It's a very rural area. There's not lots of evidential opportunities. You know, there's not CCTV cameras up like there is in a town.
Yeah.
Not lots of people walking past with phones. I thought this is going to be a really challenging investigation.
But did the crime scene itself hold any clues?
I got a search team in who were fingertip searching in that area over there.
Right.
And then found what turned out to be the murder weapon.
Well, you found that here?
We found a small knife from a set, just the tip of the handle sticking out of the ground. So you make reasonable assumptions that that weapon had been brought to the scene.
Being here at the scene, it really brings home the horror of what happened. I can't even begin to imagine what it must have been like for Alex's mum, trying to cope with it all. It was only a chance discovery that led to the recovery of Alex's body. And whilst police had opened a missing persons investigation, an 18-year-old disappearing hadn't initially been a major concern. But with a murderer now on the loose, they had to move fast. I'm en route to speak with Bev about how she learned Alex had been murdered and to hear how she came to terms with the police account of his last moments. I've just been speaking to the police. They told me how Alex was found. It must have been so hard for you to hear.
They came round and described how he was left, and he'd suffered, he'd been tortured, he'd been stabbed, he'd also been punched in the face. I just hope Alex was unconscious and he didn't have to feel all this pain with these stab wounds. I cannot imagine him being in such an isolated place, that the terror, you know, that he must have felt.
Yeah.
There's just no words to describe it. I've never known pain like it. And this pain persists, you know, all the time, and there's just no escape from it. It's an indescribable pain.
It's heartbreaking to hear what Bev went through. I'm going back to meet with DCI Jeff Hurst to see if the post-mortem revealed anything else about how Alex died.
Cause of death was asphyxiation and stab wounds.
So he choked to death, or?
It may well have been when he was dragging him from the attack site to the tree.
So he was still alive?
Yes. There's 128 stab wounds. In all, there were 146 separate injuries, including those stab wounds.
Jesus Christ. You must have been thinking, what kind of person are you dealing with?
You know, you conjure up all kinds of images in your mind. This physically large brute of a person, extra strong, menacing features. It's natural when you see such a frenzied attack. It could have been someone known to Alex. It could have been a perfect stranger. At that point in time, I didn't have sufficient information to make a call one way or another.
I just can't get my head round why anyone would want to launch an attack as frenzied as that against someone so well-liked as Alex. Like, what kind of person are we dealing with? I need to know what Alex's friends were thinking. Could his attacker be someone they know? Or was this a chance encounter that saw Alex lose his life in the most tragic of ways? When you found out Alex had been murdered, what did you think had happened?
There was all sorts of things going through my head. There's nothing that I can think of as to why that would have happened to him. As far as I'm aware, he didn't have any arguments with people.
No.
You know, he hadn't fallen out with anyone. And I was worried because I didn't know who had done it. And it made me sort of worried about my safety as well.
Did it?
And as well as his mum's, because it made me think, was this going to happen again?
I couldn't believe what actually happened. I thought it might have just been someone that he knew. Who was he with? I was, like, in shock.
Alex was quite a big guy, quite tall, and he was quite stocky. We were like, it must be some, like, really big bodybuilder or something to have been able to take Alex on.
The fact that his body was unrecognisable was really daunting. Like, what on earth could have happened for him to end up in that state?
Alex's friends struggled to wrap their heads around what had happened, and the possibility it could be someone they knew is hard to comprehend. But could the brutality of the attack reveal anything about the potential suspect? Dr. Ali Ajaz is a forensic psychologist who's examined and studied many violent offenders. So I've been investigating this case about a young man who was found dead in a wooded area. His body was found with 146 injuries. What type of person could commit such a violent crime?
So it's a very good question. The degree of injuries and the number of stabbings shows that there's a discharge of emotion and lack of control that's gone along with that. So either there's some history or something that's happened between the two, or if it's a stranger, then it could be that they've been caught up in someone's emotional turmoil.
What type of profile would you be giving the police in a case like this?
I would say that it's likely that it's another male and it's someone that the victim didn't know or didn't know very well at all. They did this in an act of rage or loss of control. And then afterwards, there was likely to be a sense of realization of what had happened and did their best to try and cover their tracks and hide.
It's really upsetting to hear what sort of person Alex found himself up against in the last moments of his life. And with the crime so violent, detectives were in a race against time to find the killer. Forensics, DNA, phone data, and CCTV all play a vital role in a murder inquiry. I'm about to find out how Jeff's team were using these tools to get answers.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
Well, thanks for letting me come in and talk to you today.
Detective Inspector Tracy McMurdo was one of the key figures in the investigation.
So this is Alex. We knew that on the Monday afternoon he'd booked a taxi from his home address to take him to Parbold. So what we want to see here is, does it look like Alex has got his phone in his hand? Is he communicating with anybody? What's he wearing? What has he got with him?
Yeah.
Where is he going? Does he look like he's kind of walking with a purpose to somebody else?
He does, he clearly does. He looks like he knows exactly where he's going, doesn't he?
Once Alex's taxi arrived in Parbold, the team were able to trace his steps along Station Road, going into Mill Lane. An in-store camera then picked up images of him buying a chocolate bar and a drink. From there, police struggled to pick up his movements until a final camera caught him on Lancaster Lane, walking in the direction of Parbold Hill. He wasn't seen to meet anyone and didn't appear to be followed.
Alex seemed happy and carefree on his way up the hill.
It's unsettling watching his last moments, and knowing he won't return is heartbreaking.
It leaves me with so many questions. Had he arranged to meet someone? Or did his last fatal encounter happen by accident?
I'm digging into the killing of teenager Alex Davies, who was found murdered in a local beauty spot near his home in West Lancashire in April 2019. He'd been stabbed 128 times. But who was the killer? And why did they want to inflict such violence on an innocent 18-year-old?
Well, it's still unbelievable, really, that Alex is dead.
It's a very hard situation as well because no one understands what actually happened.
I didn't think anyone like that could exist. You watch horror movies and you think, oh yeah, that's just a film that could never happen to anyone that I know.
This is such an unexpected, brutal murder. It's left Alex's friends and family reeling. It seems to me the police have little to go on. They know Alex walked towards Parbold Hill, but that doesn't explain how he came to be attacked, or who the attacker is. I'm meeting with Tracy to find out where their hunt for a murderer took them next.
We want to know all about Alex. We want to know who he's been meeting, who he's been talking to. So we look at his phone billing. There was a number that stood out on the Monday that didn't appear anywhere else in Alex's contacts. So that's a really interesting number to us.
Yeah.
And what we find when we look at that number is that it had been in contact with a landline, and we managed to get in touch with them, and they were able to provide us with the name of Brian Healis.
Brian Healis? Who is that?
A 17-year-old boy from Chorley.
Chorley is only 12 miles from where Alex lived. This has the potential to be a major breakthrough for the police. But what was Alex's connection to their suspect? Was this someone he knew well?
There wasn't many connections with Chorley. It wasn't a place where I knew Alex knew people or a place that he'd really go.
I didn't recognise him at all. I didn't recognise where he lived. I didn't know anything about him. But the main thing in my head was why he's done that to Alex when he had no prior contact.
Whilst Brian Heelis is at the top of the police's list of suspects, there doesn't seem to be a clear connection between him and Alex. Could this unknown teenager really be responsible for such a brutal murder?
Why did you feel so confident that he was the suspect?
So all I need for an arrest is reasonable suspicion.
Right.
And when I looked at the timings of the communication, they were texting each other on the day of the murder.
Right.
So that's communication with someone unknown to us.
So that was quite groundbreaking.
That was the break that I needed and that I wanted. That was what I'd been pursuing. That name, that suspect.
On May 3rd, 4 days after the murder, police went to Heelis's home in Chorley.
What kind of person is Brian Heelis? Did he match up to the suspect that you had in mind?
No, absolutely contrary, to be honest. I envisaged a monster, you know, physically big and strong. When we actually made the arrest, this was a 17-year-old. He'd never been in trouble with the police, never been in trouble at school. He was completely under the radar, as the saying goes.
Did they find anything?
Yes, yes.
What did they find?
Pretty damning evidence.
Like what?
Alex's headphones, Alex's mobile phone. We found Alex's wallet. And the fact that I had Alex's property in Brian Heelis's bedroom, I had no doubt whatsoever that I had the right person.
It was a shock for them to find him so quickly. I still can't understand it and why, but I want to know why. Why Alex's killer had the audacity to kill him.
Whilst it appears the police have damning evidence against Heelis, his connection to Alex is still unknown. Why were they in communication with each other? How had they met?
In custody, he was deemed fit for interview. We got to a point where we asked him all the questions and he didn't answer them.
At all?
He answered one question and thereafter he went no comment.
Are you responsible for the murder of Alex Davies?
No.
Okay.
Can I just step in? Do you recall the advice I gave you in the interview? Yes.
We'll start again. Are you responsible for the murder of Alex Davies?
No comment.
That's Alex. Have a look at that picture. Do you know Alex?
No comment.
Have you ever seen that person before?
No comment.
How do you know him?
No comment.
Although Jeff and his team have Heelis in custody, he isn't providing them with any information. I understand Jeff felt they had strong evidence to make an arrest, but how can they be certain this 17-year-old is their killer?
Brian Heelis was arrested on the Friday night and we were able to seize his phone then. And we were able to recover a message sent to Alex at 2:30 on the Monday to say, I'll come get you. At that point, Brian Heelis is going no comment, but this tells us that he met Alex.
And he planned to meet Alex?
Yeah.
For the first time, police were now able to place Heelis with Alex on the day of the murder. But why were they meeting up? And how did he get there?
Oh my God, is that him?
Yes, so that's Brian Heelis as he arrives into the Parbold area.
He cycled there?
But as you can see on that footage, he isn't carrying anything. Once we had Brian Heelis in custody and we knew he lived in Chorley, we knew that somehow he had got to Parbold from Chorley, so we started expanding the parameters for our CCTV trawl. And this footage, we got him cycling out of Parbold and quite clearly carrying a rucksack, which he didn't have on his way in.
Do you remember going there on Monday at all?
No comment.
For any reason?
No comment.
The text message, the CCTV, and the discovery of Alex's property in Heelis's home meant police were confident enough to charge him with murder. But as strong as the evidence was, I still have questions. First and foremost, how did he know Alex?
We were able to access information from Alex's social media that actually showed us that they met on a dating site and they swapped off that onto another social media platform that answered the question of what had led to the meeting on that Monday.
I wasn't expecting the connection between Heelis and Alex to be a date. Was the fact Alex met Heelis through an online dating site the reason he kept their meeting secret? I want to know what these social media messages reveal about their relationship.
So they'd been messaging each other, just general chit-chat and arranging the meet, talking about common interests.
The messages then become more flirtatious before Healer suggests they meet up in person in a discreet spot, telling Alex he isn't out yet, luring him in.
On the Monday, they check that the meet is still on, that Healer says, oh, I've found somewhere. Alex is, at that point in time, in Parbold Centre, so he starts to walk up the hill because they send each other pictures over social media, say, this is what I can see. And so...
As if to say, like, this, come and meet me here.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so normal. Like, I know so many people that meet on dating apps and move over to social media and meet up in person.
It's just awful to think that in these circumstances, he's almost been lured to somewhere that is well away from the road for this meeting.
It might be normal to meet on a dating app and talk on social media with a potential date, but Alex's case really highlights the dangers of meeting in private.
And if there's anything, I suppose, that can come out of this case, it's just to have that bit of awareness and to let people know where you're going, or to pin drop your location to a trusted friend or a family member, or just tell somebody where you're going, because this is just normal, isn't it? This is normal that you meet people online.
There's nothing about those messages that would stand out to me if I didn't know what eventually went on to happen.
Alex's dating life hasn't come up in my previous conversations with his friends and family. I want to know what he shared with them about his use of dating apps. His mates Aidan and Declan may know more.
How much did Alex talk to you about his love life? Was that something that you guys spoke about?
He told me about all of his dating apps. He told me everything.
He shares quite a lot.
Yeah, he'd like go to me and go, oh, look at this guy I'm speaking to.
He didn't just want, you know, the fling, one-night stands. He wanted a proper relationship. The one thing he didn't tell me was he was going to meet somebody. I don't know if he told him to keep it a secret. I don't know what it was, but that's the one thing he didn't tell me.
And I told Alex there had been a murderer that had got his victims from Grindr, and he just laughed and he said that'll never happen. And of course it did.
I think he just trusted too much sometimes. And that wasn't a fault. That was just him being genuine.
The messages Alex and Helis exchange seem natural general chat, but it's clear from what his friends and family have said, he could be too trusting. And whilst his intentions were honest, just a young man looking for love, could the same be said for Helis? Or did he have something else in mind from the outset?
I'm in so much shock. I know so many people that use dating apps, and to think that Alex found his killer on one of these platforms is the scariest thing.
Or his killer found him.
How do you mean?
When we looked at the chat, the messages between them, Brian Healis was asking what kind of phone Alex had. For me, there was a degree of research being done by Brian Healis. He clearly had some intention to do something with Alex's phone. He'd been researching fake GPS, which, from my perspective, was him seeking to throw the police off the scent. There was a lot of planning, it was premeditated, he'd gone prepared. Let's not forget, he took that knife with him. I think he was planning a murder.
Scary.
At 17, Helis was a year younger than Alex, but his messages suggest he was confident and assured. In dictating where and when they would meet, it felt like he wanted to be the one in charge. We now know why. It's hard to express the isolation of this place, the distance Alex had to travel, and the excitement he must have felt for that first meeting, unaware of what was ahead.
This is where Alex's body was found. He had 146 injuries, and 128 of those were stab wounds. Helis then dragged Alex and hid his body under some branches, and then discarded the knife there. Helis didn't want Alex to be found. It's a calculated move.
It's overwhelming being here. It's so peaceful. You just can't comprehend the horror that unfolded. But shockingly, this was only the start of what Helis was planning.
He had been in contact with at least 2 other people and had set in motion arrangements to meet one of them.
So you stopped a serial killer?
I'm investigating the disappearance and murder of 18-year-old Alex Davies from West Lancashire. Brian Healis, another teen, was charged with his killing after police believe he had lured him to a remote beauty spot through social media before stabbing him 128 times.
Within a 24-hour window, not even 24 hours, they'd got in contact, arranged to meet up, and Alex was dead.
I don't really know how to put into words how I feel. Just still wondering why. Wishing I could go back and stop him or just warn him.
Throughout his police interviews, 17-year-old Healis said nothing.
When we found Alex, he has multiple injuries. Are you responsible for causing those injuries?
No comment.
Are you responsible for murdering Alex Davies?
No comment.
But when he stood trial in 2020, huge revelations came to light. I'm meeting again with crime reporter Joe Thomas to talk through the evidence.
Well, you covered the trial, didn't you?
I certainly did, yeah. From the outset, from the beginning of the trial, Healis's lawyers essentially accepted that he was responsible for Alex's death.
Oh, they did?
They did. The argument that his barristers put forward was that he had diminished responsibility because of paranoid schizophrenia. We heard that he had been showing symptoms for quite some time, paranoia being one of the most obvious of them. The court heard that as he cycled to the meeting point where he met and later killed Alex, Healis claimed that 2 cars had tried to run him over. His argument for carrying a knife, the knife that he killed Alex with, was it was for his own protection because he feared people were trying to get him.
According to the defence, Healis was severely mentally ill. And for me, that raises a big question. Is it possible that when he launched his brutal attack, he had no idea what he was doing? I'm getting back in touch with Dr. Ali Ajaz to learn more about the condition Healis's defence argued he suffered from.
Can you tell me a bit about schizophrenia? Like, what is it?
Commonly, it's an idea or a belief that isn't grounded in reality. You can have quite disturbing experiences like hearing voices that no one else can hear that are specific to you, as well as seeing strange things. It starts gradually with, I guess, more mild symptoms. So people can go for quite long periods without other people being aware of their illness.
With this specific case, there was a lot of premeditated evidence. How does that work with responsibility for actions?
Often there's a rationale that they may preemptively strike someone in order to protect themselves. You would say they have a lack of responsibility around what they're doing because they're not fully aware. It's a credible defence, but it does require robust assessments and multiple opinions to be successful.
Speaking to Dr. Ajaz, it's just made me realise how complicated this case is. My heart goes out for Beverly. Can she really ever have justice if her son's killer might not have even really understood what he was doing?
As far as the police and prosecution were concerned, this was much more straightforward. Their evidence showed Healis's actions were cold and premeditated, and they weren't prepared to accept he was suffering from diminished responsibility. So what else did they find to support their theory?
We did establish that after he'd killed Alex, he had been in contact with at least 2 other people and had indeed set in motion arrangements to meet one of them.
Jeez. Do you know, genuinely, that is so frightening.
Brian Healis had researched folding army spades and how much you could purchase them for, which to me as an investigator suggests that he was planning something else, and next time it wouldn't be as crude, and with a possibility that he may dig a shallow grave. That's the thought that was going through my mind.
So you stopped a serial killer?
Potentially, we prevented another murder or even murders.
After 5 days of evidence and less than an hour of deliberation, the jury came to a decision. Healis was guilty of murder. Following the verdict, the judge jailed him for life, with a minimum of 24 years. It was clear he regarded him as a real and continuing threat to the public.
So Judge Brown said, "In my judgment, you are a cold-blooded killer, and this was a brutal murder. You lulled him to his death and executed the killing in a savage way. Although the motive will never be known, you were undoubtedly setting him up to kill. and you are a manipulative, calculating and devious person.
Without doubt, the judge felt Helis was aware of his actions at the time of Alex's murder. But how do his family and friends feel now the trial has been concluded?
In my opinion, the killer should never, ever be let out. He's just too dangerous. I do wonder to this day whether it's all put on. Does he actually have paranoid schizophrenia, given the fact that he's so calculating and evil?
Alex's killer needs to be in jail, but he's not actually there. He's in a secure mental institution, receiving treatment. We've still not attained justice in a way, and we need to do that.
For Bev and Leon, until Helis has moved from the medium security hospital and is in prison, their fight for justice is still ongoing. And Alex's friends are only now starting to come to terms with their loss.
I'll always remember him, no matter what. He'll always be part of me. He's just such a caring, honest person, and what happened to him shouldn't have happened.
My head is out there somewhere, and I'm still looking for him in the street. Even if I'm walking to work or I'm walking to the conny, I'm looking for him.
I like to talk about the memories that we had, the arguments that we had. Every memory with him was a good memory. He'll always be in our hearts. And that's not just with me, that's with everyone that had the pleasure of meeting him. Yeah.
I'm ending this journey as I began, by going to see Alex's mum, Bev. How does a mother cope with the murder of a child, even after a killer has been convicted?
What does it feel like to do life without Alex?
It's just an existence. I haven't really got any enthusiasm about anything. It's the same day in, day out. I've got so many memories, but I'm just thankful that I had the short space of time that he was here with us, that I'm proud that I was his mother.
Your strength is so incredible, Beverly.
I've no strength. Just carrying on.
I want to know how Bev feels about dating apps now.
All the common sense is out there. Take it. Don't ever meet anybody in an isolated place because, you know, they could be the one that can end your life.
You're sat out here talking to me and raising awareness.
Well, I've got to do this, haven't I, to warn people. Like the judge said, fortuitous, that our police managed to catch him so quickly, thank goodness. Otherwise, you know, another life would have been lost as well. I'm positive of that.
This is a tragic case of a trusting young man looking for love who lost his life. When it comes to online dating, there are so many pitfalls. You can never be sure who's behind the screen, who you're really meeting, and what their true intentions are. Alex was clearly manipulated by a calculated killer, groomed for murder. I just hope as time moves on, his friends and family are able to find peace.
If you've been affected by any of the issues mentioned in this programme, please head to our helpline page.